I'm Addie. I've been a licensed funeral director for the last 13 years now. I chose to come to Wagner-Elfner in Burgs. One of the other employees that I've worked with before came here, and I've seen a lot of things on social media. It just looked like a very good place to get into, and especially with the new building and expanding for future. I started my internship here 13 years ago with Burg, so it's like coming back around now. It's very interesting to be back in this building because I never thought I would, but it's been great so far. I love it here. I grew up in Dover, Pennsylvania. I went to Dover High School, lived there my entire life until I went to the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science. I did some courses at Penn State York prior to going there when I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And then I went to PIMS for 16 months. I graduated from there in 2013, kind of came back here. I saw an autopsy in 11th grade. And I kind of wanted to do that, but once I learned about it, I didn't really want to become a doctor or move out of the area because they don't really do them here. I went into this route. My mom always told me that I was going to do this, so I guess she knew somehow. I took an anatomy and physiology class in 11th grade, and we had the opportunity it was a video of one being done, that and a knee replacement. So it was really interesting to watch, but I just think it's really neat learning about the human body and all of that. And then what got me into the funeral directing side of it, I was always interested in just seeing how people looked at funerals and viewings and how they did it. So that's something that I really like to do, be able to make people look nice for their families one last time. My mom has always said, I used to like to read the obituaries, and especially if they were young, well, why did they die? And I know I don't know that with everybody that comes through here or other funeral homes, but I don't know, I just thought it was interesting. Being able to talk to people, all kinds of people, big groups, small groups, just the comfort level. Honestly, I was never good at that at all until I started working here, and Dawn just kind of threw me to the wolves almost, and I got very comfortable very fast. That just kind of more calm, a calmer person, more mellow, obviously somebody that just wants to help people and really care about people, because you can't do this job if you really don't care. We do generally try to follow families through, from the arrangements through the services, unless we would be off on vacation or something like that, then we update another director. But generally we try to stick with the family just for the comfort level and build a relationship with them, so it's always nice to be able to continue to help them the whole way through. Legally in Pennsylvania, we have to either bury or cremate somebody in 10 days, but generally the embalming will happen within 24 hours. Legally, you have to either be embalmed or in refrigeration. If you're going to have a viewing, then definitely you would be embalmed. So that's usually done pretty much at the time of death or very shortly after. And then we meet with the family, and that kind of sets how long we'll have the person. Generally, it's maybe 3 to 5 days, but it can go longer. If it goes over 10 days, we have to get permission from the state to keep the person for longer. We embalm them and then generally just meet with the family, schedule the service, and then we don't usually get people ready until about a day or so before, just so they don't dehydrate. We have a special kind of like lotion, cream that we will put on their face after embalming, just to keep them hydrated until we're ready to do the makeup. How we get them dressed and get them into the casket, especially some larger people, that's a big question everyone wants to know. Thankfully here we have a ceiling lift, but at my other funeral home we did not. So it was kind of like a portable lift. It had straps, and you would wheel it over to the person, put the straps under it, and then it cranked up, and then it could move around and place the person in the casket. Most of the time we do cut clothing, just because once someone's embalmed, they can get a little stiff as far as bending their joints and things like that. So we do cut probably 99% of the clothing, especially shirts. just to make it easier. If anyone comes in with jewelry on, I generally will take it off right away, put it in one of the little velvet bags that we put them in, and then label it with their name. And then we take an inventory on a piece of paper, like a form that we have, and just list everything that's on there. And then when we meet with the family, we'll go over all that. Ask if they want it back, ask if they want the jewelry buried with the person, cremated with the person, and then they have to sign off either way on what they want to do. So I've just been unboxing some cremation jewelry that we ordered. This one actually was incorrect, so I'm sending it back to the company and they're fixing it for us. So that's always nice that they'll do that. We have an area that's secured that we keep all the jewelry and things in if we're keeping it for the service or burial or something like that. For viewings and things, we generally ask the family for a more recent picture, especially if they are older. Some families will bring in pictures for an obituary and they're like 20 years younger in it. So we do ask for a more recent picture just to see how the person's mouth naturally shut, their eyes, that kind of thing. If they wore a lot of makeup, if they didn't. We try to keep everyone as natural as possible, especially men, because they don't generally wear makeup. Even a lot of the older ladies don't like a lot of makeup either. So definitely pictures are good. If they do have makeup, we can get their lipstick, that kind of thing. So we have exactly what they wore. Same with nail polish. Some people like their nails painted, others don't. So that's something that I always definitely ask. But they can bring in their own. We have a lot of different things. And then as far as hair, I do not do hair. I'm not talented in that, but Catherine does it. We have hairdressers that come in if they want them professionally done. The makeup brushes and things are stuff you would use every day. There is mortuary makeup. I tend not to use it just because it's thicker and the person look more like they're deceased. I found like L'Oreal makeup works really well, and we have a bunch of different shades so we can just touch up little things. We have a lot of different shades of makeup. We serve all kinds of people and ethnicities, so we have lighter tones, we have darker tones, and we just try to match as best we can. There's been times that I've mixed a couple colors together. An airbrush too is also something that I don't think we necessarily have here, but that's something that I've been trying to better my abilities. But that can be really useful, especially for people in car accidents and things where you have to use some of the wax and stuff and you don't necessarily want to smudge the brush or something over somebody. The wax, we can use that for lips, or if someone would have been in a car accident and say they have a gouge or something on their face, we can fill it in almost and make it look like there's nothing there in a lot of cases. There are circumstances where people will ask to come in and do makeup and things like that. There are circumstances where after the person's embalmed, we get them ready, have them dressed. If a family really wants to do their makeup, we place them in a different room and get them ready. Same with hair. Some families like to do their loved one's hair. So again, we will get them pretty much like they would be ready to go in the casket. The big question we get, or something just in general that people say, is I've seen a body sit up after they passed. And I always think that's kind of funny because they're definitely not sitting up. If anybody would do that, I would be out of here.